Hey, what's up everybody, Ralph here. So today's topic, I want to talk about how to pay down credit card debt, all right? And 4 basic steps, all right? Now these steps are very basic. So if you're someone that's struggling with credit card debt and you're trying to figure out how to get started, these ways should help you, all right? So the first thing you should do is stop using the credit card. All right, now I know it sounds real easy, but for a lot of people, it's very hard to do. Even for myself, when I had a bunch of debt, it always seems like I was in a constant struggle to pay down that debt because I just kept using it. It would just accumulate. All right, because like credit card debt is not like an installment loan where you have a set number of payments, and once you reach those payments, your debt is is gone. With a credit card, it's a revolving account. So every time you use it, every time you add on to that balance, that interest rate that adds on to that balance, it's just you can end up paying that forever. All right. So you need to get to a point where you're saying to yourself, all right, I need to stop using it. And I know how difficult that can be because it's like, all right, boom, you got, whether there's an emergency or things have to be paid for, you feel, with the credit card, even though that cash, that money's not there, it's not real, it's easy to just use and say, all right, I'll pay that next month. I got 30 days to pay that off. But what happens is most people don't pay it off. Interest gets added onto that thing and you're constantly just adding on to the balance, taking forever. So the first thing you want to do is stop using the credit card and then use either a debit card or cash. All right. I don't care if there's an emergency. I don't care if you think there's something you need to have. Put that credit card away. Don't close it because that can hurt your credit score. Put that card to the side and use either cash or debit card. All right. You got to find ways. If you don't have the cash, then maybe get a second job and make sure you make more money so you can pay for the things that you need. But put that credit card away. All right. So number 2, take advantage of 0% interest offers. So these are credit cards that, you get them in the mail where it says, oh, you have 0% interest for, let's say, 21 months, right? Now, if you do this strategically, you can use that to your advantage, all right? So because it's 0% for 21 months, that's 21 months where you're not paying any interest, all right? So if, let's say you transfer that, whatever balance you have from one card to another card, that balance that you transfer, there's no interest being added onto that. So basically every payment that you made is getting paid down on the principal. All right. So you want to make sure you take advantage of that. See if you can find cards like that. And if even better is if you can find a credit card that doesn't use a transfer fee. Like every time you transfer one credit card, there's usually like a 3% transfer fee. There's not too many cards that have that, but if you can find one, definitely use it. But if not, then, it's going to be like 3%, 3% charge on that. But, what you want to do is get that. You want to transfer from one credit card to another. Make sure it's not the same company. So it's like Chase to Discover. You want to do it that way. So transfer that over. And then whatever that balance is, you're paying 0% interest on that for the next, 15, 21 months. And you want to make sure you take advantage of that, right? So that's one way. So that's step 2. So step 3, once you do it, if you can't find a credit card that does that, then the next thing you want to do is number 3, which is call your bank or whatever credit card provider that you're using, call them up and ask them if they can lower the interest rate. Okay. So the thing is you want to do with that is call them up, ask them nicely, like, you know what? I'm committed to making this. I'm committed to paying you back the money that I owe, but I just right now I can't afford. I just can't afford the payment. So if you can ask them just to lower that interest rate, that can help you. In terms of like trying to pay that down. Now, the worst thing they could say is no, right? Obviously, the worst thing they can say is like, no, we're not going to do that. But I mean, if you have a good relationship with them, it's in their best interest to do that because the worst thing that could happen is it's a lose-lose situation if let's say they send you to collections, which costs money for the company to send you to collections, and there's no guarantee that they actually get the money back. All right. And now once they send you the collection, it goes on your credit report and that kills your credit score. And the fact that, if once they do that, there's no chance, there's no guarantee that they actually get the money back. So it's a lose-lose situation. They don't get their money and then you get dinged on your credit score. And that could hurt you in the future for when you want to make purchases in the future, like whether it's a car or you want to purchase a house, that's going to cost you more money in the future. So it's in their best interest to do it. They don't always do it, but it's something that, you should definitely try. I know how scary it is to call your bank and say, I can't make a payment, or is there something we could do to work out? But I mean, they appreciate that more than you just not paying. So just give them a call and just ask them like, hey, is there a way that we can lower that interest rate, and so I can help it can help me in terms of making payments. All right. So that's step number 3. So step number 4 is once you get all that down, once you get that either a lower interest rate or you get it down to 0, then you want to take advantage of this, okay? So once you get it down to that, you want to get that interest rate down, then you want to start paying down that debt aggressively, okay? So let's say you use the credit card and you got 21 months of 0% interest rate. You want to make sure you take advantage of those 21 months. You want to make sure that every payment that you're getting, whatever you can afford, whatever extra money that you have, you're throwing that down on the balance. Okay, as much as you can. Even if you don't get it down to that balance down to 0, at least it's a lower payment. It's a lower balance that interest is being applied on. So you want to make sure once you get that interest rate down, you want to attack that debt aggressively. You want to make sure all the money that you got, if you got to take a second job, and all that money that you make from that second job, you want to make sure you're attacking that balance and paying down that balance, straight to the, aggressive as aggressively as you can. All right. So you want to make sure you take advantage of that. So those are the 4 basic steps, okay? So if you apply these steps, it should help you in terms of really being committed and taking advantage of paying down that debt. Because once you're obviously with the credit card, the biggest financial burden for people is debt. And credit cards, they have the highest interest rates of any type of debt. You want to make sure you're paying that down, and you make sure once you get that credit card down, you make sure you're paying that balance off every month, right? So those are my 4 tips. If you got any questions, make sure to leave a comment down below. Make sure you hit the like button, share, and subscribe. All right, so that's all I got for you guys. Take care. Have a good one. All right, later.